Hello, so Andrew here again with Roxanne for emotional support, and the list of people from my life who need to be told it got better apparently just keeps growing and growing. So here's another one, and this one goes out to Mike. Mike, you may not remember me, but you arrested me, I think either 2 or 3 years ago now. This was before you were born. Daddy was a criminal. So anyhow, I was arrested in a small town in the state that I live that won't be named for driving with a suspended license. And in my defense, I didn't know my license was suspended because the state of Massachusetts has stopped notifying people. It had been suspended for an unpaid ticket, and I had even changed insurance. I went with that chick Flo that's on TV, and Flo didn't let me know. She insured me. She was just like, yeah, sure, pay the premium, I'll insure you. License suspended. So in any case, I get pulled over for an expired inspection sticker, and before I know it, there's 2 police cars there, which is never a good sign, by the way. If you're pulled over and a second car comes, you're done. So in a flash, they have me out of the car, on the hood of the cruiser, then handcuffed behind my back, the whole 9 yards. It's very humiliating. The part about this, handcuffed, not humiliating, on the side of the road in front of a Dairy Queen, humiliating. So they put me in the back of the cruiser and they start taking me, Mike, my arresting officer, starts taking me to be booked. And, after a minute, I'm like, am I under arrest? And he's like, you're in handcuffs in the back of a police cruiser. Of course you're under arrest. So that's when it hits me and I start crying. And this is maybe about 11:30 or noon. So he takes me to the police station, I continue crying, we go through the whole process. Booking, they have me handcuffed to a wall, crying. At one point they buy me a Diet Coke and some cookies. They hope that'll calm me down so they can fill out the rest of the paperwork and I'll stop crying. No, crying, fingerprinted, crying. They take my belt from me and my shoes and shoelaces so I don't hang myself, and they put me in the holding cell, crying. And by the way, I did learn this afterwards. Don't threaten to hurt yourself as a way of getting out of the cell, because then they can commit you for 3 days. They just, boom. We're not going to have this guy hang himself in our cell. He goes to the hospital and they strap you down or whatever they do in those hospitals for 3 days. So anyway, long story short, my employees, I worked right around the corner, and my employees managed to pull together bail money out of petty cash, and I got out of jail, I think about 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon. But there was a good solid 4.5 hour period there where I just cried the entire time. And there's something very unnerving about a grown man crying, even if it's a grown man like me. So it rocked their world. And some of the officers were really nice about it. Mike was very nice, but the other officers, some of them were just total D-bags about the whole thing. But here's why I think Officer Mike needs to know that it got better, was because out of that experience, I made a new resolution for myself for the next year, and that resolution was to be more conspicuous, to cry if you feel like crying, and to not worry what anybody else is going to think about it. If you're upset, you cry. So even if you're in a holding cell in a small town with macho dick cops all around you and you just want to sob, just cry and be more conspicuous. And that's what I learned. So Officer Mike, you should know that it got better. So fuck you. And I'm still a free man.